They're all in the gate. They're up. Between horses, Dash of Pleasure moves to the lead, well decorated alongside, and Says You on the outside is third. Paristo is fourth, Tap Shoes fifth, Rajavacha, and Double Sonic. They move to the clubhouse turn. Dash of Pleasure takes the lead by a length and a half. Well decorated seven. Paristo on the rail is third. Says You on the outside fourth. Tap Shoes alongside fifth. Rajavacha and Double Sonic. They straighten away for the run down the backstretch. It's Dash of Pleasure a half a length. Well decorated alongside second. 3/4 of a length. Says You on the outside third. Gap of 2 lengths. Tap Shoes fourth. Paristo on the rail fifth, Double Sonic and Rajavacha. They move midway down the backstretch. Well decorated by a head. Dash of Pleasure right alongside second. A length Says You third. Tap Shoes moving on the outside fourth. A length and a half. Paristo is fifth. Double Sonic and Rajavacha. There's a half a mile to go. It's Dash of Pleasure by a head, well decorated alongside, with Tap Shoes now moving up where the leader's third. Says You on the rail is fourth, Paristo fifth, Double Sonic and Rajavacha. They move midway on the turn. Well decorated ahead. Dash of Pleasure second. It's Tap Shoes on the outside third. Says You fourth. 2 lengths Paristo fifth. Double Sonic and the trainer Rajavacha. They move to the top of the stretch. It's well decorated, taking command and moving away a length and a half. Tap Shoes second. Says You moves on the rail third. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. Well decorated with the lead by a length and a half. Tap Shoes on the rail second. Says You third. In mid-stretch, it's well decorated. Here comes Tap Shoes making his move on the rail. It's Tap Shoes coming on to get the lead. Tap Shoes gets the lead. As they move to the wire, it's Tap Shoes by a length. Well decorated was second, and Double Sonic up to be third.
As he came into the stretch did Dave's friend, and there he is, widening on his field. Lovely horse. Guilty Conscience was second, Rare Performer third, but what a runner is this 6-year-old gelding as he wins the White Skies Handicap.
They're off. Island Charm on the outside with Chain Bracelet going for the early lead. Then Barnegat Bay, Contrary Rose, Lady Oakley on the inside rushing up. Then Lady F in 7th down the chute. Chain Bracelet has the lead by only a neck. Lady Oakley on the inside now takes second by a head, and Island Charm between those two is right there in third by a length and a half. Contrary Rose in 4th by a length, and Barnegat Bay in 5th, followed by Lady F. Down the backstretch, the first quarter in 23 and 1. Lady Oakley on the rail now takes the lead by a head, and Island Charm is with Chain Bracelet, and Chain Bracelet comes on again. Those three vying for the lead. 3 back, it's Contrary Rose in 4th, and 4 back to Lady F in 5th, and Barnegat Bay. The half run in 45 and 2, and around the far turn, it's Lady Oakley leading the way by a half. Chain Bracelet on the outside, second by a half. Island Charm is third by 3. Contrary Rose in 4th, and Lady F in 5th, and Barnegat Bay is 6th. Approaching the top of the stretch. On the inside, Lady Oakley has the lead now by a length. On the outside, Chain Bracelet is second by a length and a half. Contrary Rose gains in third. Island Charm is fourth past the 8th pole. Lady Oakley has the lead, but Chain Bracelet is gaining on her. Those two now join at the 16th pole. Chain Bracelet on the outside gains the lead. Lady Oakley is second. Chain Bracelet in front. High Gun was not a gelding. He won the Belmont in 1954. You can see a picture of him here. However, during that year, that particular year, geldings were actually exiled from the Belmont Stakes. Geldings were not allowed to run in the Belmont from 1942 to 1956. In 1957, they were once again allowed to run in the Belmont Stakes. In fact, geldings were eligible to the Belmont right from the start in 1867, which reminds me that two fillies won that race. The Ruthless won in 1867, a New York bred, and in 1905, Tanya won the Belmont Stakes, bred in New Jersey. Geldings do run in the Belmont Stakes now, and you might remember last year's Belmont, the third horse under the wire, Rock Hill Native, was a gelding.
This is Assault, the 7th Triple Crown winner, and he had a problem from the beginning. I think human athletes or equine athletes who operate with physical difficulties get a little extra sympathy from people. Raymond Barry, a famous receiver in the 50s with the Colts, one leg shorter than the other, thick eyeglasses. In my time, Glenn Cunningham was a great miler whose legs had been badly burned as a child. He overcame it, became internationally famous. Well, Assault, when he was just a little foal frolicking around in the fields, did a practically irreparable damage to his hoof. And for the rest of his life, his hoof was dished. People said he had a club foot. That wasn't actually so. Club foot would mean blunt, as in a human, a blunt club. Actually, his foot from the injury was dished, so that along this line it went in, as in the face of a dish. The wall was very thin. The blacksmith always had trouble. He learned to compensate with a little strange gait, and it plagued him all his life. As a 2-year-old, he had a very ordinary year. He won a maiden race and won stake at 70-1. And in the fall of the year, his trainer, canny, world-famous Max Hirsch, a Hall of Fame trainer, decided to give him another chance, took him to South Carolina and got him ready for the 3-year-old year. Brought him here to New York on the 1st of April. On the 9th, he won a thing then called the Experimental Handicap. And then a familiar name to you, he won the Wood Memorial on the 22nd of April. And of course, that gave him his trip to Kentucky. When he got to Kentucky, he ran in the Derby trial. But he was defeated at Kentucky and at Louisville. And here in Churchill Downs, they blamed the mud for his defeat, and so he was 8-1 Derby afternoon. This is the scene in 1946, the Kentucky Derby, Louisville, Kentucky. And when they turned for home, Assault had opened up on everybody. Spy Song led early on, hung on gamely. A horse called Hampton, who made a stretch run, was pulled up early, still finished third. But it was Assault all the way. A marvelous victory, won by 8 lengths. And of course, as I told you in those days, the Preakness soon behind it. This time, they believed in him, and for the first time in his career, he was favored in a decent race. He was 7-5 favored in the Preakness, and a real good stretch runner, Lord Boswell, was the second choice. And let's take a look at the Preakness in 1946 in Baltimore.
They are off and running. Wee Admiral is taking the lead. Natchez is second. Tidy Bid is third. Knockdown is fourth. Hamden is fifth. Assault is sixth. And Lord Boswell. first turn. It's Tidy Bid in front by 2 lengths. Matches is second. We Admiral is third. Knockdown is fourth. Hamden is fifth. Assault is sixth. And Alamod. Into the backstretch, it's Tidy Bid in front by 2 lengths. Matches is second by half a length. Assault is third, and coming at the leaders, Hamden is fourth, and Knockdown. Turning into the stretch, it's Assault in front and drawing clear. Lord Boswell is second, Hamden is third, and Matches. It's Assault in front by 2.5 lengths. Lord Boswell is second. It's Assault in front by 2, and Lord Boswell under the whip is flying. It's Assault by 1.5 lengths, by a length, and by 3/4, and he wins it by a neck.
Well, there was a little criticism of the rider of Assault for moving early. He nearly got beaten. And so when they got to the Belmont Stakes, that horse had closed so fast, Lord Boswell was practically co-favored with him. And you'll notice Assault stumble at the start of the Belmont. But, of course, he recovered. Let's take a look at the Belmont, a little bit of it in 1946. There's the start. But he overcame that stumble that you saw, went on to beat Natchez, drew away at the finish, and Warren Merton's on him again. He became a Triple Crown winner. That summer, some more of the bad luck. There he is in the winner's circle with Mr. Clayburgh, and Merton's on him. That summer, he got a kidney infection in July, and it felled him. He was sick all summer. When they brought him back, he ran kind of badly, but he pulled his act together and won the Pimlico Special in the Westchester. He became 3-year-old and Horse of the Year and went back to winner again in South Carolina. When he came out as a 4-year-old, he reeled off with Arcaro on him now. 5 straight amazing victories. I'm going to read the races off to you. The Greylag, the Dixie, the Suburban, the Brooklyn, and the Butler. And in the Brooklyn, he gave 9 pounds to Stymie. He won by several lengths, and this made him the leading money winner in the world at this time. His next victory was in the Butler, 5 in a row. He carried 135. And then again, his bad luck settled in. His legs began to bother him a little. He was defeated, and in September, he showed up lame one morning. They had a match race with Armed after that. He wasn't himself, and he was sent home to be bred, and now more sad news. He failed the sterility test. Now, at that time, it was sad. Think today, $20 million maybe would have been lost with a Triple Crown winner. They rested him through the winter, took it in stride, and brought him back as a 5-year-old. He did win, but he was never the same. He bled on several occasions. They tried to run him at 6 and 7. He would win, but he was never himself again. He was turned loose when he was retired. He did cover successfully a few quarter-horse mares, but of course, being officially sterile, he never did do anything at stud. So there was a lot of greatness and a lot of sadness in the story of Assault.
Relaxing on the extreme outside with Irish Tower. Along the inside, Gerontis, then Ring of Light, Pete Moss, and Bar Dexter. Irish Tower has the early lead as Ring of Light gains along the inside in second. Gerontis is third as Relaxing has dropped back into fourth. Then Pete Moss fifth, and Bar Dexter is sixth. Approaching the clubhouse turn, Irish Tower sets the pace, has the lead by 2. Ring of Light second by 3. Gerontis is third, then Relaxing, followed by Pete Moss and Bar Dexter, the first quarter in 23 and 3. They're approaching the backstretch, and Irish Tower has the lead by 1.5 lengths. Ring of Light second by 5. Gerontis is third by 3. Then Relaxing the Filly in fourth by 3. Bar Dexter fifth, and Pete Moss is sixth. The half and 47 and 2 down the backstretch. Irish Tower on the inside still leads by only a length. Ring of Light on the outside, second by 5. Relaxing in third by a length. Gerontis fourth, dropping back. Bar Dexter gains on the outside. 8 back to Pete Moss. Continuing down the backstretch. 3/4, 1:11, and Irish Tower has the lead still by a length. The Ring of Light on the outside, second by about 4 lengths. Then Relaxing in third. Bar Dexter is fourth, Gerontis fifth, and Pete Moss remains in sixth. They're approaching the top of the stretch. Irish Tower now extends that lead to 3. Ring of Light second by 3. Relaxing is third into the stretch. Irish Tower now leading by 4. Ring of Light second by 4. Relaxing is third. Then Bar Dexter, Gerontis, and Pete Moss down the stretch. Irish Tower has the lead by 5. Ring of Light second by 2. Relaxing in third, and Bar Dexter is fourth to the wire. It's Irish Tower in front.
Well, I think a great deal was made of the fact that Temperance Hill did wear mudcalks when he won the Belmont Stakes. I think there were some handicappers who thought that was the only way he could have won the Belmont Stakes was by wearing mudcalks. We found that not to be true, fortunately. But to explain to you, Lillian, what mudcalks are, every day a racehorse normally wears a flat-heeled front racing shoe. When the track is off or sloppy, the trainer may elect to put mudcalks on, and these are shoes with a protrusion in them to give a horse a better traction or grip on and off racetrack. There are 3 kinds of mudcalks. The first is called stickers. This is just the racing plate taken and the ends of it turned up, as you see, and that places a little less pressure on the quarter, and some trainers might opt to use this kind of mudcalk. The second kind of mudcalk is the one that Temperance Hill wore in the Belmont Stakes, and these are called jar caulks, and the inserts or protrusions are placed a little bit further forward. All of these caulks, of course, are just simply meant to give a horse better traction. The third kind of basic mudcalk is called a slide or parallel caulk, and in these the inserts are parallel to the shoe, and they are for giving a horse a little bit better traction on turns, prevent the slipping of the foot. Now, not all trainers will use mudcalks every time it rains on every horse. Some horses simply don't like them. They don't like the feeling they get from them. They don't handle them well. Some horses don't have the foot for them. A horse such as Cure the Blues, who has had foot problems, quarter cracks, his foot simply cannot accommodate the pressure put by a mudcalk. So this information is announced by Marshall Cassidy before each race. Whether you feel that it's going to have a big influence on the way your horse will run is up to you to decide. But we thank you, Lillian, for your question.
This is War Admiral, 4th Triple Crown winner and a son of man o' war, but not very much like his daddy. His daddy was Chestnut Red, called Big Red, 16-3. This was a little brown horse that barely made 15-3, but he had a lot of his father's talents. And when Man o' War first went to stud, he was a big success. He got Crusader, Mars, Anchors Away, names you'd expect, and good horses. Then he hit a dry spell, and he was 20 years old when War Admiral got good. Actually, as a 2-year-old in 1936, War Admiral was 3 for 6. He was not 2-year-old of the year. Pompoon was. He wintered in Maryland and came out in the spring of '37 and won the Chesapeake Stakes. When he did, owner Sam Riddle decided to send him to the Derby. something he had not done with Man o' War because he believed the Kentucky Derby was too early and too far for a 3-year-old. But when they got to the Derby, allowance race was given to the fine little War Admiral, and he won it laughing. So when all these celebrities gathered together on Derby Day, May 8th of 1937, he was the favorite. He broke fast from along the inside, went right to the lead. And the whooping and the hollering was always for the same horse because he led every step of the way. When they turned for home, he was 2-3 lengths breezing in front of Pompoon and was a fine hand-ridden winner of the Kentucky Derby. I've mentioned to you before why it puzzles me, but that night, that very night, he went to Baltimore on an express car because the Preakness was 1 week later. Now, the Preakness was going to be a rematch between Pompoon and War Admiral, and it turned out to be a more exciting race.
Turning into the stretch, it's War Admiral on the outside, in front by a head. Pompoon is second, Flying Scot is third, and Losotri is fourth. It's War Admiral and Pompoon head and head. War Admiral and Pompoon head and head, neck and neck, nose and nose. And here comes the finish. It's War Admiral, the winner, by a head.
It was a close finish, and yet those of you cognoscenti watching closely, Charlie Kurtzinger was handriding. Turned his stick down in time, just shook it once at him. He won very handily. And so when they went on to Belmont 3 weeks later for the Belmont Stakes, he was going to be an odds-on favorite and had to meet Pompoon again. This time he stumbled, however, at the start, did War Admiral, and took a big piece out of his heel. He went on to the lead, and that's the way he always ran, on the front end, but he was trailing blood, the accounts of the race say, when he came to the winner's circle because he had grabbed his quarter so badly, taken a big piece out of it. But still an easy winner. Scene Shifter was second here. Pompoon didn't appear in the competition, but the cut was so severe that War Admiral didn't run again until October that fall, and now the hue and the cry started. Remember, this is the summer of 1937. War Admiral's a 3-year-old, Seabiscuit is a 4-year-old. They wanted a match race. Well, in the fall of the year, Seabiscuit declined to meet the little Admiral when he came back in the Washington Handicap. War Admiral won it. There was no match. Biscuit didn't like the mud, among other things, and so they both went to their winter racing grounds. It was the West Coast for Seabiscuit, and it was for the Admiral, Florida, where he won the McLennan and the Widener. 10 straight races. 3- and 4-year-old carried 130 the last time he ran, and when both horses came back from California and Florida, again the hue and the cry. Well, I can't tell you the long story. Chicago offered $100,000, New York $100,000. How Alfred Vanderbilt got the race in the fall of the year for $15,000 is like getting Manhattan Island for $24. But he did get it for a $15,000 purse. On the 1st of November they met. But it's interesting, one of the conditions of the race. I have told you a little about War Admiral. He had a bad temperament. He was nervous. He hated the starting gate. And all through his 4-year-old year, they were constantly schooling him in the gate, trying to get him to stand, to relax. Frankly, it was fruitless. In every one of his Triple Crown races, he had acted up at the post. He acted up at the post in Florida that winter. And so as a stipulation before the match race, and it finally did come off after several postponements, in all fairness, Biscuit postponed it, but when it finally came off, one of the reasons and stipulations, there would be no starting gate, a walk-up start. So as you look at the match race on the 1st of November, look at no start.
There they go. Seabiscuit is going to the front. It's Seabiscuit leading in a surprise move. As they turn into the back stretch, it's Seabiscuit leading by a length and 1/2. Neither horse has yet been extended. As they go by the half-mile post, War Admiral is starting to move up. It's Seabiscuit by a neck. War Admiral moves up to him on the outside. It's now Seabiscuit and War Admiral head and head, with neither horse having an advantage. All the way around the far turn, it's Seabiscuit and War Admiral head and head. They're head and head. Kurtzinger now has gone to the whip on War Admiral, but it's still Seabiscuit and War Admiral head and head. As they turn into the stretch, it's Seabiscuit and War Admiral still head and head. And now Wolf has
drawn his whip. He reaches down and he hits Seabiscuit once, twice, and Seabiscuit responds. He draws clear. It's Seabiscuit by 1 length, by 2 lengths. War Admiral seems through. It's Seabiscuit by 3, by 4. It's all Seabiscuit. At the finish, it's Seabiscuit the winner by 4 lengths.
This was November 1st, 1938. War Admiral, a 4-year-old, Seabiscuit, a 5-year-old, and besides being an exciting match race that President Roosevelt listened to on the radio and delayed a meeting for, it also showed that the strategy in a match race must be take the lead, because that's what defeated War Admiral, among other things. He raced once more that year and won and was retired to stud. A tremendous success. War Jeep, Usanda, good horses, and then a great broodmare sire. And that's War Admiral, the 4th Triple Crown winner.
On the hedge, the very one moves for the lead. Buck Point alongside second. Gun Stewart on the extreme outside moves up third. Cash the ticket alongside is fourth. Spence Bay fifth. Forte 6th. El Baril is 7th. Love Sang and Boulard, they move on the upper turn. It's Gun Stewart by a length and a half. Cash the ticket on the hedge is second. 2 lengths, the very one third. Buck Point fourth. Spence Bay alongside is fifth. Forte on the outside 6th. Now on past the stand for the first time. It's Gun Stewart with the lead by a length and a half. Cash the ticket on the hedge is second. Gap of 3.5 lengths. Buck Point third. The very one fourth. Spence Bay fifth. El Baril on the hedge is 6th. Forte on the outside is 7th. Gap of 3.5 lengths. Love Sang and Boulad. They move to the clubhouse turn. Gun Stewart continues to lead by a length and a half. Cash the ticket is second. Gap of 2 lengths, Buck Point third, El Baril fourth, Spence Bay alongside fifth, Forte on the outside 6th. The very one saving on the hedge is 7th. Gap of 4.5 lengths, Love Sang and Boulad. They straighten away for the run down the backstretch. Gun Stewart a half a length. Cash the ticket on the hedge moves to challenge length and a half, Buck Point third. A length, Spence Bay is fourth, a half a